All right, welcome everybody to the Tootsie Roll. Hey, I'll tell you what, I was listening to that music and I couldn't resist. And I'm sure you're dancing right now in your living room right now. Come on, I know you are. Don't lie. I know you're probably walking around the family room right now going, the roof coming down, the roof coming off, right? You're all singing that. Anyway. Welcome to Tuesday Talks, everyone. Absolutely fired up, excited that you joined us today. We have a great program. So without any further ado, let's get started. So let's take a quick look. We've got a lot of you. There's more people joining in right now. So let me get my breath. How's that? Oh my gosh. Number one, I know I'm really out of shape, which kind of happens. I know I'm supposed to exercise. And so you guys are like, damn, John, you're like breathing so hard. Yeah, well, you know what? That's what COVID does. I haven't had the time. And I know some of you are like, well, you got to make time to get fit. And I go, I know. But anyway, that song is such a great song. Was that like from the 80s or something? But every time you hear that song, I mean, your blood just starts getting going, right? So it's kind of like a good workout, pre-workout song, I guess. But anyway, we started this program called Tuesday Talks about 5 months ago, right before COVID happened. Well, it's actually right when COVID happened. And we are all kind of figuring out how to conduct business and to do what we did before. And so every Tuesday night since 1994, my wife and I would have a training session for our sales force, for people who just wanted to know more and learn. And so when COVID happened, we're like, well, now what? Do we still do it? I mean, is it appropriate as people are suffering and scared and the uncertainty and people are losing their jobs? I mean, should we still do these things? And the response was overwhelming. I mean, almost everyone said it was something that they wanted to see and watch, because it was a place where you can go every Tuesday night at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. So if you're in the East Coast, and by the way, I'm looking down right now and I can tell you we have people from all over the country right now and in Canada. So they're all joining us, and we'll have more here in about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll have more people joining us because there's some people who dial in right in at 7 o'clock, and there's a reason for it, because right now for me is an opportunity to talk to all you new people and what this is all about. And so we're glad you joined us, okay? So what I want you to do is this. I want you to get with the person who invited you. And I want you to say, look, John's right. You know, what better time than now for John to tell me and deliver a wake-up call? I need to make more money, and I want to know how money works. And I like to talk with John directly. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you guys my phone number, my direct number, and I want you to call me, reach out to me, text me, whatever, and I want to meet you guys myself, face-to-face, right, via a Zoom. But for now, what I want to do is tomorrow I'm giving another orientation at 2 o'clock. If you want to know how to get started, how to make money, what the compensation, all that kind of stuff, I'm going to do that tomorrow at 2 o'clock, okay? Excuse me, make sure that you register right here at bit.ly/AFP orientation. And I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow at 2 o'clock, all right? Now, without any further ado, I want to introduce you guys to a couple, right? So why this couple? Because they're an exemplary leader, all right? A husband and wife who actually met in the business. So they weren't husband and wife when they first started. They were actually individuals. They met in the business working with me. And these two, it's like I saw them grow up. I mean, they were young, right? Early 20s. And I saw the maturity from where they were and where they are today and how they've grown, and their maturity and their temperament and their tenacity and their vision and their purpose as not just in business, but as parents. And now they have their own family. They got their beautiful children. They're just not leaders in business, but they're leaders in their own home. But they have offices all over the country, right here in California. They've got offices throughout the United States, including in New York. They have an office on Wall Street, okay? And I want you to know that these people weren't those people who just, woke up one day and their parents were like royalty and they had servants and, they grew up on the right side of the track. let me just tell you something. These are two of the hardest working people. They absolutely deserve everything that they're enjoying today, everything they've reaped, all right? Everything they've reaped, they've not, or sown, right? So I want you to know that I am super honored and grateful that they're here today. So without any further ado, we have Dina and Elan Michael. Welcome to our webinar, you guys. How are you?
Man, we are fired up. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. I sat here, and as a matter of fact, I was kind of getting a little bit emotional because absolutely it is true. You have seen us growing up, and a lot of this is a tribute to the coaching. And I got to tell you, John is the person that brought myself and my husband, Elan, into the business. And it's very true. He saw us when we were young and broke and ambitious and hungry. We had a desire to build a new future. And I'm looking at you, honey, and I'm thinking about everything that John has said. And I was listening to some of this last few minutes of this presentation, and this is the kind of information that sparked inside of us a hope and a desire for a better and brighter future. So it's very real right now with so many people in quarantine. We need a call to action. There is an opportunity for all of us to change our lives. And so I want to just share a little bit about our background, and I'll take a few minutes. And yes, as John said, he knew us when we were young and single, but then of course having our first child and our second and our third, and we have 4 children right now. All of them are small. And so I'll take a few minutes first, then I'll pass it on to my better half. But it is true, we are partners in this business. We're a team. And as a matter of fact, if I can show you right here, I will do so. It's amazing to think that we've done it together in this industry, in this business, and it delivers. You know, when you think about the dream life, you know, we live in that beautiful home, and all of the things that we saw, that we hoped for and we planned for, obviously through hard work and intention and following a system that works and finding some leaders and mentors, why not you? So here's where, if I could really peel back some of the layers of what helped us to make this decision. You know, when I was just in my early 20s, believe it or not, I opened up a phone book and I looked up financial advisor. And that's because I come from a big family. I'm one of 9 children, second to oldest. My father has been in education for the same school for over 25 now, going on almost 30 years. And I saw people in my life that were either struggling financially or they were actually really wealthy. And it's interesting because just because I had relatives that were really rich, it didn't mean that they were very happy. As a matter of fact, I saw my grandfather have 3 heart attacks, and I think it was probably the 3rd one that killed him. And then of course I saw people like my father, who was a humble teacher and loved his life. He had a fulfilled life, but he never earned enough. And so I always knew that I wanted to find that mix. I wanted to make a difference and make money. And there's nothing wrong with both. It's not like you would have to choose. And I saw too many people choose. And so I looked up financial advisor in that phone book, and I walked into a company called TD Waterhouse. And all I could tell you is that after about an hour, I was really overwhelmed. I heard terms that I never heard before. Some of the terms that John might have mentioned, okay, that was me. My first time learning about finances. Here I was actually in college, not learning about that stuff. And the person who I sat with, he went on to ask me questions, and I didn't understand his questions. He mentioned a Roth IRA. He mentioned municipal bonds. He mentioned mutual funds. And I remember leaving that appointment and calling my mother and calling my aunt and calling my best friend. And I said, hey, you know, what do you suggest for me? Do you recommend those plans for me? And every single one of them said the same thing to me. They said, Dina, I think that I have one of those plans. I'm just not quite sure how it works. And that's when I had a huge aha moment. It dawned on me that almost everybody that I knew how to go to work for money, and very few people knew how to put money to work for them, and that there was a difference there. And so I remember booking myself a second appointment, sat down with a woman, and she went on to change my life. She said, Dina, if you really want to understand money, you want to work on the inside of a financial institution. And I remember thinking, what do you mean? Like, I never anticipated a career in this field. I never thought that this was going to be for me, right? But what I did know was that I had a desire to build a certain future. I always knew that I wanted to be a maker, not a taker. I wanted to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. I didn't want to rely on anybody else. And so, yeah, I took that first basic step. And by the way, the person who helped me take that first step, yeah, it was John Shin. He said to me, Dina, he said, it's really important that you ask yourself the right questions, because I wasn't ready to go on one date and then just get married. I wasn't ready to just jump all in blindly, but I did know that I was open to certain things. So he said to me, Dina, don't ask yourself, should you do this or should you not? He said, what you need to do is you need to ask yourself the right questions, not the wrong questions. The right questions are, number one, do you really like helping people? And for me, the answer was yes. I love helping people. I knew that I wanted to make a difference. He said, number two, are you open to earning extra income? And obviously the answer for that was a clear yes. And the third thing he said was, are you really open to earning more money? Excuse me, are you really open to learning more about money? And I said, absolutely. And so from those 3 questions, he said that all you need to do is figure out what is the next step. And then for me, taking that next step eventually led to the next step and the next step. And I went from going on 1 date to going on multiple dates to dating this exclusively and to falling in love with it. Believe it or not, to the point that, of course, I met my best friend, my partner in life, my husband, partner in business, partner in raising our family, our children. And it has literally changed my life. So when I look at those pictures and I think about how we're in an environment where literally somebody can enter your life and change it and help you to deliver on all of those dreams and hopes, I am nothing short of totally and completely grateful and also honored to be here tonight. So with that being said, I just want to point out that there were certain shifts that I had to have. You know, for the most of us, we're raised maybe by employees. You know, we're taught the system, go to school, get a good job that gives you good benefits, retire at 65, right? That's what we're taught, have a retirement plan. But this is where in any good business, we need to have, we call it the 5 or the 6 M's. You want to find a winning platform. And obviously, if you're listening to this tonight, you found it. And so the first thing that I had to get clear about was I had to have alignment with a mission. And obviously, for me, there's no better mission than financial literacy. I mean, there are so many different companies out there. There's so many different business models. There are so many ways to do sales or to make money. But not only are we the most lucrative industry in the world, you know, retail and real estate being $30 to $50 trillion industries. And yes, we are a $100 trillion industry, but financial literacy is huge. You know, as a country, to think about the fact that we're literally the 8th. We're not the first. America is not the first when it comes to financial literacy. We are behind other countries like Spain. To think about how 5 billion people in our world don't have access to financial literacy. This was something that I believed in. This is something that I can sell. This is something that I can stand by. I can sell all day long, helping people to save money, helping them to be financially independent. So the first thing is getting aligned with a mission. Then, of course, is understanding our model. And we can go on to like an hour or a 10-hour class. And of course, it sounds like John has classes coming up that are going to break that down. But when I think about our model, it's very, very special. Because when I sat down with somebody in the very beginning with another company that was a financial advisor that was going to give me financial advice, the only way that they were able to help me was by basically giving me the fish. The gentleman that I sat with said to me, Dina, if you follow these plans, if you go ahead and save money at this rate in these accounts, by the time you're 65 years old, congratulations, you could retire. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to be 65 years old when I retire. What if I want to retire at 40? What if I want to retire at 45? What if I want to be able to travel the world with my kids? What if I want real freedom? And of course, it was really this second company, right? Especially it was with our model that I was taught a model where somebody didn't just give me the fish, they taught me how to fish. They taught me how to make big money. They taught me about business. They taught me about passive income, residual income, reoccurring income. So understanding our model is critical, because once you can align yourself with an environment where you're not just spending your time and trading it in like a transactional kind of work, you're trading in your time for a fixed income, but you learn how to invest your time where it's going to pay you compounded over many years to come. When you really see this model and you really see this mission, you can't unsee it. You know, I remember learning the rule of 72 for the first time, and it blew me away. Coming from a big family where I have younger siblings, I have small brothers and sisters, when I saw that $100 a month in the right place for someone in their 20s, they could have over $1 million saved at retirement. And of course, you could double that and triple that, but $100, you know, we see the tears now. When we did have an office before Corona, right now, I haven't stepped foot in my office in 4 months now. I'm at home. I know my husband, Elan, is at the office right now, but I literally would go through a box of tissues, one box of tissues every week, because I would meet with people in their 40s and 50s and 60s, and they would just sit in my office and cry. Because when they learned that rule of 72, they said, why didn't anybody teach this to me sooner? I wish somebody explained this to me in high school. So when you understand also our marketing system, this is what I love about our marketing system. It works, it's proven. There are many different ways that we market, but my favorite part about our marketing system is I never look for clients. I don't look for clients. All I do is I look for people who could benefit from a financial education, financial literacy, anyone who could benefit from learning about how to get out of debt or save money, or how does estate planning work, or financial planning, or insurance planning. Anyone who could benefit from a financial education. We focus on education, and then through education, we have clients. And then I think about the law of multiples. You know, I remember sitting down with somebody who's been in financial services for 16 years. And he was explaining to me his business model. And I remember having a conversation with him, and I said to him, let me ask you a question. If you sit down with a client, for example, right, and you're going to talk to this individual, well, where would you suggest that they invest for the long haul? Should they keep their money in the bank, or maybe in a CD where it has a fixed capacity? It's going to grow at a very fixed and limited return? Or are you going to teach them how to grow compound? Are you going to teach them how to grow compound interest? And he's like, well, obviously, I work with helping people how to understand how mutual funds work, or how the S&P 500 works, and how they can grow their money compounded. And I said, that's great. I said, how would you like to invest your time? Would you like to invest your time, which, by the way, is our biggest asset? Time is worth more than money. Wouldn't you agree? So what would you prefer, to invest your time in a fixed type of business, in a fixed environment where you only get a fixed paycheck for putting 10 hours of work or 20 hours of work and you get a limited amount? Or would you prefer to invest your time and to build something that's going to have equity, that's going to pay you for years and years and years and years? And obviously he was like, yeah, obviously I would like to invest my time in a compounding manner. Well, that's our business, right? We've got that marketing system. It grows with multiples, the most lucrative industry in the world. I mean, and when I think about money, it's not just the money that we earn. I sat there literally with a calculator and I did the math with my husband. It was funny. You can't calculate $1 billion. The calculator doesn't allow it, but you can calculate what it would take for someone like me to save $999 million. What would I need to do? What would I need to save every single month and invest? And where would I need to invest so that I can get to that goal? And so it's not just about earning money, it's about knowledge, so that you can apply the knowledge that we're learning to save money, to build wealth, to grow your own investments. It's amazing to think, Elan and I have done the math, my husband and I started my first plan where I was saving $200 a month and then $400 a month, but then to get it to a point where we're saving tens of thousands of dollars consistently month after month, where we're able to pay our bills but not have to worry about any of our fixed expenses because of our income, our passive income, but because we're also saving. To know that we've learned that all here through all of the classes and all of the trainings, were just another example of somebody that took the initiative, that had a desire, rolled up our sleeves, made mistakes along the way. Nobody's perfect. Definitely fell flat on my face a few times, but you get back up and you work on your mindset. So I just wanted to give a few quick tips on that. And especially since we're a partner, we're a couple in the business. I mean, we are a partnership in everything that we do. I was thinking maybe I can share a few tips on that, because there might be a few of you who are listening to this who maybe have a significant other that can really support you in your journey. You want to make sure that you're going in the same direction. But also if you have a parent or you're doing this with a brother or a sister, it's so important to be working on our mindset and growing together. So with that being said, this is where there's two types of mindsets. There's a growth mindset and then there's a fixed mindset. And I've worked with so many people over the years, as John has, as Elan has, and I think that one of the most important ingredients, besides for having a great business model and great compensation, is you got to have the endurance. You got to have emotional intelligence. And I remember hearing this once, and it really stuck with me. I remember somebody said to me, Dina, are you a system-driven person or are you an emotion-driven person? Success when they're committed to doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. Okay, your feelings don't care about success. Is that right? Your feelings, of course, you're going to have a great day, you're going to have a good day, but success needs to be your boss, not your feelings. If we just showed up to work when we felt like it, I can tell you, we certainly would not have the freedoms or the lifestyle or the savings or the business that we have today. So it's really, really important to remember, and I remind myself of this too, we're all human beings. I have emotions, I'm not a machine, but I try to remind myself to keep my emotions in check. We're a professional, we're entrepreneurs. People are counting on us. My children are counting on me to be that role model, to be that example. So I think that the rule of thumb here is don't get too high on the highs and don't get too low on the lows, because reality is somewhere in the middle. Come from that mindset where you have an attitude of gratitude. Working with people from all walks of life, yeah, it's going to get challenging. People have personalities. I can tell you, I have people who come to me every single day and they want to tell me what they cannot do, what they don't like, what they don't want to do. And so I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, have a can-do attitude. Think about what you can do. Think about what you do like. Think about what you're willing to do, right? Don't focus on all the stuff that you don't like. I remember hearing this and it really stuck with me. Every day that you wake up, right, you got to stand guard at the gate of your mind. Your mindset is everything. If you have the blueprint in your head, then you've got a real shot at making it happen. But if it's not in your mind, right, how is it ever going to come true? You first need to believe in it. So I had to work on believing in myself. I had to work on believing in my mentors. I had to work on believing in our industry, in our company. And absolutely, you're going to go through challenges along the way, and we'll get to like how to overcome some of those obstacles. But I can tell you now that having a growth mindset is going to get you through all of this. And I have it on my computer right here. Control, Alt, Delete, right? Control your feelings, alternate your thoughts, delete any negativity out of your life. You have that mindset. Even if you get down, even if things challenge you, you're going to be able to get back up and you're going to be able to overcome. I love seeing all the Think and Grow Rich that John Shin has poured so much time and effort into, because that was a book that was life-changing for me to read. Right? Think and Grow Rich, The Millionaire Mind. John mentioned the cash flow quadrants. I can tell you right now that the thing that I was clear about, I wasn't crystal clear on exactly what I needed to do daily in the very beginning. Obviously, you're new to this, but what I was crystal clear on was that I wanted to invest my time, I wanted to set a good example, and I knew that I wanted that one day I could be proud of what I built. I knew that I wanted freedom over my time, passive income. And you know what? This is something that unfortunately not enough people are talking about. Wouldn't you agree? Think about all those kids going into college and learning the programming, how to get a good job, how to get good benefits, how to become a manager, how to get a promotion at the job so that one day you could get that matching benefit in your 401k so that one day you can retire at 65. Are you kidding me? Like if I had a megaphone right now, I wish I could go to the tallest mountain and make sure that all those young women who are just like me, who wanted to have freedom and a family, who wanted to create their own schedule, who wanted to be their own boss, that they understood the power of our platform. So I want to just shift gears for a quick minute and just leave you with a few thoughts on building a partnership business if you're doing this with somebody that you care about. Because of course, just like anything else, if you're going to do something great, you're going to need to overcome some challenges. And I remember reading this study that was run in Harvard, as a matter of fact, where a professor stood up, pretty interesting, and he asked his class to write down what they thought was the most important ingredient that was necessary for them to have in order to succeed in business as entrepreneurs. Interesting. What was the most important decision that they were going to make? And different people wrote different things, and some of it I might have touched on, having a business plan, you know, making sure that you have good credit so you get a good loan, you have funding, you have marketing system, whatever, you have a product. They all wrote down different things. And the professor stood up there, he gathered everybody's answers, and he said, the most important decision that you're ever going to make in your entire life that is also going to impact whether or not you will be successful in business is who you choose as your partner. Okay, so whether you get married or it's your partner in life, who you choose to marry. And everybody was shocked. And this is where, when I think about it, who you decide to build your future is a bigger deal than people really give credit to. I think about how important it is to grow with your partner, to have common values, to want the same things. We already know, you know, it is unfortunate. So many marriages end in divorce. And of course, just like anything else, relationships require different things at different times. But ultimately, certain things have really helped my husband and I know that they're probably very similar things or maybe the same things that have helped all of our friends who are in business with their partners. And similarly, John and Arlene, they are a power couple. They're a partnership. They were the ones that directly brought us into this business. So this is where, if I could give you any tips, number one, having the mindset that you've got to take ownership. It's our business. So even if you're not the one that is fully engaged, maybe it's your partner, knowing that it's our business and that I could bring mindset strength, I could bring skills, I could bring ability into the team. Okay? Knowing that you have the power to create the shift. It doesn't have to be that your partner needs to do everything. You can look within yourself, you can find the solutions, you can find the strength, and you can bring the success, and you can lift the couple as a couple. How many people have this kind of attitude? You know, and some of you might have seen this before, but it doesn't mean that we've seen it enough where we follow and subscribe to the right way of thinking every single day. Sure glad that the hole isn't on our end. When you're on the boat, you're on the boat together with your significant other. So planning together, dreaming together, visualizing. You know, we discussed what dream home we wanted. We thought about all of it. We dreamed big together. And you know what? Of course, when we go through differences of opinion and challenges, how do we overcome that together? It's by, first and foremost, having that growth mindset, knowing that you are not the enemy. It's not you versus me. I'm not fighting you. It's us against the world. Play to your strengths together. It's you as a partnership against the world. I think about how Charles Schwab talks about how successful people see problems as opportunities. So it's all mindset. It's amazing how Richard Branson, I don't know if you know this, he was dyslexic. Do you know that he says that he's actually successful because of his dyslexia? His dyslexia forced him to work on his relationship skills so that he could go through school and actually do okay and survive. And so he credits the fact that he was dyslexic, that he became so successful in life. So you are going to fail, and life is going to be tough, and you are going to have challenges and obstacles. And there were times in the business that I got on the phone and I was embarrassed. I wish that the ground would open up and swallow me whole because maybe I screwed up the script. I remember times that, you know, I made bigger mistakes and smaller mistakes, but I look back, and failure is a part of success, right? And we know this and we hear this, but we need to apply this more of that growth mindset, going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. One thing that we did was we kept attending events like this together. That's it. All these events are available. I got to tell you, the events that John Shin has, so many free events, so many opportunities for you to grow, learn, get mentorship, learn about money. I mean, this is the time for you to invest in yourself and make sure that you are on the path of growth and that you're not just surviving through this time, but you're also thriving. You know, it's like I get a lot of questions, and I know that you guys too, people are concerned right now. I love your background, John Shin, with the toilet paper, love it. Always make me laugh. You always make me absolutely smile. But this is where, at the end of the day, if you show me where you invest your time, if you show me where you invest your money, that will tell me what your value system is. It's as simple as that. So especially at a time like this, if you want to tell me what you value, show me where you spend your time and show me where you invest and you save your money or you spend your money. And so this is where, when people think about things that way, they look through their expenses and say, wait a second, I'm kind of wasteful. They look through their schedule during the day. Wait a second, I'm kind of wasteful. What if I could invest my money where it's growing, compounding? What if I can invest my time where I'm building something that I can reap the rewards from for the rest of my life? So remember why you're doing what you do. Let's not blow it. Communicate your whys, strengthen it, build it. I'm really thankful for all of it, for our platform. I'm very thankful for our leadership. And I'm going to turn this over to my husband, Elan, my better half, and he'll take it away from here. So thank you so much for having me.
Holy smokes, man. That's what I call a mic drop, everybody. This is where you just drop the mic. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Join us next week on Tuesday, right? It's like, okay. Yeah, now we got Elan Michael, everyone. Seriously, was that like unbelievable? Like in just like less than 20 minutes, you took so much content, condensed it together, gave it to you guys straight. You felt her heart. You felt her genuineness. I mean, it's like, this is pretty crazy, man. You guys, you know that Elan scored. I mean, in a major way to have a wife like that. Seriously. Well, first of all, both our wives, we're pretty grateful, because anybody who would put up with me and Elan, they deserve a lot. So Dina, you're an amazing mom, wife, sister, businesswoman. You're a rock star. Great message. Seriously, can we give her all a big round of applause? Can you like hit that little thing on the bottom? What the hell is that thing? It's like, yeah, it's like a hand that goes like that. Come on now, give it up, baby. That was crazy, you know? I guess they would say in today's day and age, the young kids, oh, that was dope. Okay, that's dope. All right, okay, whatever it means. Not that dope is great, but I guess it's a figure of slang or speech or whatever. But thanks for being here, Dina and Elan. You're up next here. Why don't you take it away here, brother? Boy, hey, you know what, Elan, you got a lot. I don't know, man. I think you should have had her close, bro.
I think you're right.
I hope you can top that one, bro. I hope you can top that one off. All right, good luck, buddy. Here, I'll just sign off. Good luck.
You know, the good thing is, thank God that we're married to each other. Can you imagine? She is literally so dynamic, and she does this every single day. Imagine with 4 kids and running a business, she literally is Wonder Woman. Now, she obviously is not wearing the cape now because she's sitting down, but she really is the Wonder Woman in our entire hierarchy. And so, honey, if you're still on there, love you, appreciate you. You are super duper amazing. And that's the thing about, staying married and being married and building a business together, because your number one recruit, your best recruit by far, is always going to be your spouse. That's it. End of story. Best recruit ever is going to be your spouse. And I remember back in the day when I started this business, when John Shin recruited me, I started with AIG. I was just a simple life insurance salesman, making about $100,000 a year in my early 20s, just selling things for a living. And he opened my mind and stretched my vision through that book, Cash Flow Quadrants, about not staying as a self-employed guy, just selling things for life, but becoming an entrepreneur where I can recruit and train and build and work with other people. And over the course of a couple of short years, I was fortunate to meet my wife in WFG, and she on her own merit got to senior marketing director, got the same promotions that I had. And basically from there, we said, you know what, let's merge, let's build, let's get together. And she proposed to me, and here we are now. Okay, I'm kidding. I proposed to her. And so here we are now, a number of years later, with 4 kids later and a thriving business. I really am grateful that I took the advice from John. And just as a side note, Mr. Shin, do you ever age? Bro, you look exactly the same as you did back in the day. Same hairstyle, same tan, only got a little bit of a goatee, but for the most part, I'm telling you, man. Here we are, getting older, getting grayer. You are looking, keep it up, brother. So I wanted to be able to go over a couple of things with you guys as I wrap up, and maybe just figure this out. Nobody has too much time. I mean, time is flying all the time. And so just to kind of reiterate, and I want to be able to see if I can share a screen with you guys for 1 sec, just to kind of get into some of the specifics of what Dina was talking about. This is a cool little calculator that we found. Here we go. You guys see this? This is an official website of the US government. It's investor.gov. And what it does is it tells you exactly what you need to put aside every month to get to your goal. And so I tried doing $1 billion before, it wouldn't work, but $999 million does. So here we go now. We got $2 million literally right now, just in equities and stocks and active accounts and IRAs and SEPs and Roth and all these things. We've got about 45 years. And the reason why I say 45 years is I'm 45 now. I started when I was 25. I've been at this thing for 2 decades. Now from 45 plus 45, I'm 90 years old. Some of you guys are thinking 90 years old, that's so old. No, it isn't, Skippy, because at an average of a 10% rate of return, all I need to do is invest $99,000, let's just round it up to $100,000 a month, and my legacy will be $1 billion to leave for my generation to come. And so if you're thinking this WFG thing is just a small little deal, make an extra couple $100,000 a year, no, man. You're starting to think not just for the weekend or the parties or the one more, vacation that you're going to plan for Christmas or whatever not. I want you to start thinking this is like a 2-3 generation industry where you manage to build it big enough, invest long-term enough into vehicles that we have in our system, in our company, in our products, in our platform, where you leave behind a wealth of $1 billion. Now that's mind-blowing. And so you're probably asking, well, how the heck am I going to be able to invest $100,000 a month if I'm not making $100,000 a month? Well, that's why we got to shut this screen and give you a new screen. You ready? This is how we're doing it. You see, there are a few keys that we've learned, both Dean and I, over the last 20 years. We picked up a lot of them from Shin, picked them a lot of them from different leaders over the last 20 years, from Thali and a bunch of different guys that have literally rolled up their sleeves and got into our world and helped us both become world-class thinkers, world-class people, so that way we can get a chance to get our kids and the next generation that much better off in society and in the world. And so a couple of things that I want to start with is, these are the 7 simple keys. The first one, and I've learned this one from Shin years ago, it's just simply be likable. And so if you've got a team of individuals right now, I want you to be able to write down their names and figure to yourself, okay, for my team right now, who is a likable person? And what's a likable person? Well, that's like having like a friendly demeanor, you know, like an open-minded individual that listens more than just speaks, that doesn't hog the spotlight when you get a chance to speak with him or her, that when you have a conversation, they're not like me the entire freaking time. They're focused on other people, not just themselves. You know, bring friendly is when you're talking to someone, you're not on your cell phone, you're not on your tablet, you're actually engaging in a conversation with them. Another thing about being a likable person is a person that you mirror the person in front of you. So you take a look at Shin, right? Shin is just fired up. He was fired up 20 years ago. He's still fired up. Nothing is slowing this guy down. He's got another decade or two to go. And so when you're around high energy, fired up individuals, you want to have that same mirrored attitude as them. You know what I mean? Ask conversation starting questions. Like one of the things that you pick up over the years is whenever you start a presentation or talk to people, you want to get into their world and ask these questions like, so how'd you meet? Like husband and wife, different couples, how did you meet? Get into their world, find out a little more about them, because that makes you interested in them and more of a likable person. Be open-minded and look for interests that you share. Whether it's a sport, whether it's your kids, whether it's whatever it is, just be a likable person. And that's one of the things that you want to find within your team, because if you find the next 7 keys in your team, you lock on these people. You lock on these people for the rest of however long it takes them to get there, because you don't want to waste any time. Number 2 is just be a trustworthy person. If you have people on your team that you know are trustworthy, which basically means keep their commitment, you know, say they're going to be doing something and doing it, be honest and truthful, you know, be transparent, be on time, don't gossip. These are trustworthy people. You want them on your team. And if you've got associates that have these 2, you're on your way to starting to build with them. Number 3 is, are they committed? Now, what is commitment? A committed is not having an option B. This is it. Option A, or I'm dead. This is literally it. You burn the bridges. My commitment is here. My commitment is to my marriage. My commitment is to my business. My commitment is WFG. And so with it, your whole being is, this is it. I'm not doing anything else. I'm focused. I'm committed. And if you ever lose track, you got to remember what's your bigger, deeper why of why you're doing this business. And if you're not doing this thing full time or 100% in it, like Dina just mentioned, then you got to reevaluate about what's stopping you. Get to talk to your mentors and say, look, I'm having a block with this, this, and this. Man, John had that conversation with Dina and I endless times when we first started out. But once we got the commitment, we were like knee deep in this cement. We were like, we're not going in this anywhere. We're in this thing full time. Number 4 is, do you have a desire? Does that person in your team have the desire to be somebody? Now, you don't have to be in WFG to have the desire. I mean, you could talk to a person that's an employee at the cash register, McDonald's or whatever not, but as long as he or she has the desire to be somebody, like get promoted to a manager, get a higher income, a desire to want more in life as opposed to just settling, then you know what? That's someone you want to be able to lock onto and build something with. That's the secret in WFG. Number 5 is, do the people that you've got on your team right now, do they have 1? Yes. 2, yes. 3 and 4. But number 5 is the differentiator. Are they in the right market, or do they access, and can they access the right market? Well, what's the right market? Well, they married, age 25 and older, have children, own a home, have an occupation, you know, the macho acronym. But other than those 5 letters that I just rattled off, I want you to think, are these people ambitious? Are they driven? Are they young and fired up? You know, if you were to take a look at the majority of the leaders that are in Shin's hierarchy, whether they're CEOs, EVCs, strong EMDs, amazing senior marketing directors, they all started off at a young age. I mean, you just rattle off some names. Look at Dina, early 20s, Fredel, early 20s, Jamie, early 20s, Elan, early 20s, Dana, early 20s, Levitan, early 20s, Rusty, early 20s. So the point is, you want to be able to take all the experience that you picked up, no matter how old or how young you are in the business, and say, I got to be able to find myself some young, fired up, excited, energetic people that I could get a chance to take all the years that I've got experience in WFG and give it to these guys like John Shin did with me. Look, when I started this thing back in the young early 2000, I was just a kid making a little bit of some change, but he literally coached me through. I used to hang out at his house every single night. You know, to this day, John, I still cannot understand how you let me and a few other SMBs into your home every night with your kids, with your spouse, with everything you had going on, bro. You made a major sacrifice in both Dina, myself, and Fredo, and so many other leaders, which is why you years later are still enjoying the benefit of building a business and enjoying the override, which are the fruits of your labor. And so you've done that for the beginning few years, and then we just took off because you saw in us these 7 characteristics where we were either in the right market or access the right market. But number 6 is that person that you're working with, are they willing to get into their market? That's a big deal, because if they're willing to get into their market, now we're talking. And one of the easiest ways to get a person to say, I want you to be able to go out talk to anybody and everybody in my team is by sitting down with him or her and educating them on how to get ahead financially. Figure out their financial independent number. Sell them on that crusade of how and what they're going to benefit from when they get a chance to invest long term. I mean, in our case, it's $100,000 a month and we're billionaires, right? Right now, we're putting in a whole bunch of money in there. And the thing is, John Shin sold me on that vision back in 2000 when I bought my first VUL from him for a $350 a month contribution. And since then, managed to max that and a handful of others. The point is, you want to be able to get into a market and stay in a good market. And if your teammates are giving you access and you want to be able to build them and you have access to their market, now you've got a stud. You lock onto that individual until they are SMD, CEOs, and above. And the 7th one, which is the X factor. The 7th one, which not everybody has. The 7th one is, in my opinion, the biggest key. Because the 7th one is something that you have to be able to be a good judge of character and check. Here's the 7th one. Can you see this person do what you do at your level? Can you see your associate be that CEO? Can you see that associate that has all these 7 characteristics be that badass in your business? Can you see them running their own office? Can you see them dealing with all the anxiety? Can you see them dealing with a massive team? Can you see them put events together? Can you see that person be the next John Shin? Can you see that person be the next Dina Michael? Can you see that person? And if you can honestly say that these people that you're working with have all 7 characteristics, now it's a whole different game. You're not just chasing sales. Now you're looking for leaders. Now you're sifting through all the different people and you are locking in on the right person. And then you build their identity. We've got a handful of them in our base shop and our super base right now where Dina and I are taking just every single day. We're constantly on Zoom, constantly doing meetings, constantly doing presentations. I'm literally still at the office here while she handles the front at the house, doing meetings in the office, taking care of the kids. I come in, we go back and forth. I'm with the kids, she's with the kids, but we'll focus for a certain amount of years to build a handful of more, another 10 CEOs to be able to give us the massive passive retirement income. That was what I bought years ago when Shin convinced me that you don't want to remain a self-employed person for a company called AIG when they can fire you and terminate you at the drop of a hat. Why don't you build a business? And sure enough, I did that. And the best thing happened. Met my wife, amazing kids, a great override, a great lifestyle, travel the world. I'm excited to get a chance to spend some time with John and Arlene in Scotland and Ireland next year in September. You know, we both qualified to get a chance to go, and it's like an elite trip. Top 100 biggest players in the company. We'll get a chance to head out there for a week or two and just get a chance to break some bread, drink some wine, more like beer because we're in Ireland and Scotland. And so get the opportunity of just, you know, absorbing it all in and find out what different leaders are doing and get into their world and build alliances and take this thing to a whole new level. And so if you're going to do this business, and if you're going to be able to commit to this thing for the next few years, follow these 7 simple things. Is the person I'm working with likable? And when I say that, I want you to think about it. Are you likable? Are you trustworthy? Are you committed? Do you have the desire? Are you in the right market or have access to it? And are you given the right market? And last, do you see yourself as that future CEO, future executive vice chairman, future EC in this company? And so with that in mind, I'm going to pass it back over to you, John. Appreciate the time here with you. Let's open it up for some questions and answers. I don't know if Dina's still with me, but we've got a couple more minutes before 8 p.m. Thanks again.
Yes. All right, you guys, there you go. Give it up for Elan and Dina Michael, everyone. Come on, put that little button down on the bottom. There you go. That's like the bomb right there. Okay, I don't know what I can add to that. I mean, it's like, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week on Tuesday. You want to roll of toilet paper? I'll send it to you. Yeah, that was dope, everybody. Is Dina still there? Dina, are you still around? Did you see your hubby? Did he crush it or what? All right, guys. Okay, here we go. I'm going to let you guys take a few minutes and ask some questions here to both Dina and Elan. And so I'm going to check my box right here, and I'm going to ask these questions. Number 1 question, let's see here. What's the number 1 nugget that you can give regarding human nature, like understanding human nature, and to build a huge team and build leaders? So what's the 1 or 2, number 1 nugget? And we'll get 1 nugget from both of you. So let's start with Dina. Okay. So Dina, what's like the number 1 nugget that you can tell someone about human nature, about building a big fat team and building leaders?
I think, unfortunately with human nature is that people tend to want to fall back into their comfort zone. And so it's really important to help, pull, push, encourage, praise, recognize, and get them more familiar with the unknown. Tap into the desire more than the fear, because everybody's afraid. I was afraid. We all have fear, but if we can really focus on what we desire, not just what makes us uncomfortable, focus on where we're going, get them to be future focused, it makes the world of a difference.
Awesome. Elan?
You know, one thing I remember years ago, John, you encouraged me to qualify for a class that WFG put together called Tiger School. Remember Tiger School years ago?
Oh yeah.
And before we got there, we got a little syllabus from what the company had to have us read. We had to read before we walked in, before the paintball wars and all that cool stuff. We had to read a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I share that book with you because I read that book, and that literally changed. And it was a massive paradigm shift in the way that I looked at things, and the way that I started conversation, the way that I respected other people, the way that human nature is. About reading that book, if you have not read it yet or listened to it on audio, it'll answer a whole bunch of your concerns and questions, Jeremy, because you'll understand how to put yourself in other people's shoes before you shoot from the mouth. Does that make sense? So How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Awesome. All right, this one comes from Jen Almiron. She says, do you find it hard to find time to just be a couple and not talk about team ILN? What is that? Team. Oh, okay. To not talk about impact leadership, not talk about your kids. What helps you with the balancing act?
Well, first of all, it's interesting because most employees, they seek balance. That's what they're looking for. Entrepreneurs aren't looking for that. We're looking to win. We're looking to make our dreams come true. We understand that life is not about balance. Life is about seasons. So we're going to have seasons where we don't have to think about work at all. We have seasons where I remember when we got married, and we went to Israel and we took an entire, 6 weeks. We went to Greece. We didn't think about business, but we made more money that month or in those 6 weeks than most people would make in a quarter. And so that's the power of our business. So there are seasons of life, just like everything else. There's a winter, spring, summer, and fall. So I don't know if I was, once I started understanding business, I really wasn't looking for balance. If anything, I was really looking to make it one, to integrate my kids into the business. My kids, they know, oh, are you on a follow-up call? Or, oh, are you talking to a client? Or is that, so bringing them into the business. It's a family business. They understand why we're working so hard. It's because we're helping people. So yeah, it's true. We'll go on date night and the business comes up. That's because it's in our blood. It's because we love it all. And love doesn't take away from one thing. And you can only love this amount for this thing, and it takes away from something else or someone else. You could absolutely love your spouse and love your business and love your kids and give it all you got, and it'll take care of you in the right seasons. So I would say don't look for balance. That's not what we're here for. We're here to win, and we're here to give it our all one day at a time and do the best that we can.
That's
awesome.
Right.
Elan, you want to add to that, or you just want to ditto what Elan or Dina just said?
Yeah, I'll take the ditto, Chuck. That sounds like a good one.
Okay, awesome. This comes from Jolly Francisco. Can you share with us how your schedule looks like managing your 4 kids and the business? Dina.
Look, I am not going to lie. It's crazy. I have 4 kids, 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, excuse me, my 5-year-old just turned 6 this past weekend. So it's a lot, no joke. Obviously, I do ask for help. I lean on people. So this is where if you can be creative and think about who's good for certain things, lean on people. My daughter, I am very grateful. She's had to step into a leadership role. She's 7 years old. She's learning about leadership right now. She's helping out. So how I manage, the word is just leveraging others. It really does take a village. But I will tell you, it's a lot. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The hardest part about quarantine, I've got all my kids at home. They're eating a lot, for sure. And I have a lot of appointments, and everybody needs help, and people tug at you from all different directions. But you gotta remember, there are moments when I'm busy and I'm running, and I try to remind myself that this is not about me. I think a lot of people, we tend to get in our own heads. Everything revolves around us. Everything is about us. And that was also a fear that I had when making phone calls. There are people that hate making phone calls, and anything that they need to do that's tedious in the business or paperwork, it's not about you. Not everything is about you. The world doesn't revolve around you. So you breathe. I think, okay, what do I need to do right now for my kids? What do I need to do right now for my team? So if you could come from a place of service, I think that that's leadership. And we all have to grow into that at some point, where we stop, trying to just take care of what we need right now, but we're thinking about the big picture, who we're helping. We focus on solving their problems, and then you get to success that way. So it's not easy. We're doing the best we can. It's a one day at a time attitude, but giving it the best that you can every single day.
That's right.
Awesome.
And look, if you can afford help, then you take advantage of it. Meaning, if you have, like in our case, we've got a live-in nanny, which makes life a little bit easier. We also have, teachers that come in and educate our kids throughout the day. In between us being with them and Dina and I being with the kids, obviously these people get a chance to help out and lend a hand at the same time. So it takes a village to raise these little suckers. I understand. Shin did it with 4 kids. Jamie's doing it with 4 kids. We're doing it with 4 kids. June's doing it with 4 kids. Every successful executive vice chairman is doing it, but you know what? It's not a perfect plan, and you do it as you go. It's the best way I can give it to you.
And we've all heard it, like some people will use their children as an excuse, just like they'll use anything as an excuse. I can't come to the meeting because this is going on in my personal life. And I always try to remind myself, and again, not perfect. There are some days that I'm so proud of myself. And some days I'm like, okay, tomorrow's going to be another day. But ultimately, you got to use, whether it's the kids, we're really fueled. That is the why. We're doing it for them. We're doing it because of them. And my kids know that. They don't complain when they go to Hawaii every single year. They don't complain when they're swimming in their beautiful swimming pool. They don't complain when they get the tennis court in our private gated community. They understand that because we're talking to them about the sacrifices that we make. They see us making sacrifices. They understand that mommy and daddy are helping a lot of people. and they're proud of us. Not always. There are times when they're like, well, we want this right now. And sometimes we have to really pay attention to that. So yeah, not perfect, one day at a time, bring it your best every single day. And for all of you moms and for all of you single moms or single parents that are doing the business, I got to tell you, you inspire me. You inspire me. Your kids are your whys. You're doing this for them. You're setting such an incredible example. What we're doing is valuable. It's life-changing, and they see it. And I feel like they get a lot of character from it. I'm very thankful that the business gives them that. I don't see kids getting that, the leadership, the coaching, the mindset, the personal development. Where are they going to get that from if we're not modeling that for them? And this is the environment to do it.
Yeah, indeed. I'm glad you brought that. I was just going to mention that too. Is you're absolutely right about that. Where are these children going to get the leadership training, the mindset training, the endurance training? Because our schools aren't teaching it. And I say that respectfully to teachers. So if you're a teacher, don't be offended by what I'm trying to say. But let's face it. I mean, our kids in junior high or elementary school aren't learning public speaking. Okay, I mean, they're just not teaching it. So I don't want to really talk about my kids, but you guys, let me just tell you something. When Elan was saying, I had people at my house all the time, and they were at my house till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and people are like, are you crazy? Who has people up until 3 o'clock in the morning? But let me just tell you something. You don't think of it until you're 3 o'clock in the morning when you love what you do, right? I mean, it's like talking to Kobe Bryant and his team talking about basketball. They talk about it all day. They don't want to stop talking about basketball. We love what we do. We're passionate about it. Not going to a BPM right now. I'm having some withdrawals. Yeah, I want to be around it. And let me just tell you something. Raising 4 kids, I can tell you that all my 4 kids, so I'm starting to get all the New York, kind of accent, listening to Dina. It's like an addiction, where you get that accent. But I can tell you that having people at my house, all my kids, they approach people differently. They don't have fear walking up to somebody saying, hi, my name is, and introducing themselves and shaking their hand and learning how to shake somebody's hand with confidence, right? Let me just tell you something. Let me just tell you, I don't think it's just me, but I think it's the culture, it's the environment that I raise my kids in, that there's a reason that my oldest son got the mayor's award from the city of Calabasas, right? He got the mayor's award, right?
Wow.
My other 2 kids got scholarships to USC and Pepperdine University, right? The other, they got the governor's award. They got all these different awards because they're in this leadership environment. They can't feel good about let me go see what mom and dad's doing, and I just want to go and sit back and play games all day long. What can I do to contribute to be a role model like my parents are? So it's important to understand that your children, you might think is a burden. It's different than all the other kids because all the other kids, the parents aren't in a leadership role. They don't know what to teach their kids. So it's okay for the kids to play games for 8 hours a day, right? So it's important for you to take a leadership role with your kids as well. So I love this. Dina and Elan, you guys have been awesome. By the way, you guys, can we give them all one final applause here? Give them a big round of applause. Big old chat on the bottom. And if you're not on Instagram, please follow both Elan and Dina. They have Facebook pages as well. They've always got great content. And hey, love you guys. You guys are awesome. And I was just sitting here thinking, Dina, my final stories were reflecting back when you and Fradel Barber, when you guys, this is a true story. Fradel Barber was broke. I mean, she had no money, barely even figure out how she was going to put food on the table the next day, right? And then she met her one friend, Dina, who was out here, who happened to be working with another financial service company. And then those 2 connected, and then they became roommates. And I remember them both getting an apartment together, and they had no furniture. And so Arlene and I basically said, well, what kind of furniture do you need? And we gave them our furniture, right? So we gave them our, it was like a
dining room table.
Yeah, dining room table. They wanted to have, by the way, we used to have something called THX. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but there was a stereo equipment, a 5.1 surround sound system. We gave them an Onkyo. The brand was called Onkyo. We gave that to Dina and Fradel, and we pretty much furnished their whole house, right? And they were broke. We were doing okay. I can't say we were financially free yet at that time, but they were down at the bottom and we were above them. But let me just tell you something. Elan and Dina and Fradel and Jamie and Marla and Ina and all these people that were there in the early stages of my career, what they did is they pushed me and Arlene up. Does that make sense? So they worked hard to push us up. We got to the top, and now can you imagine once we get to the top and we're making multiple 7 figures, we've made so much money in our lifetime inside the financial industry, it's almost like gross to even talk about, right? When people are suffering around the world. So I want you to know, they pushed us up to get to where we're at. We couldn't abandon the people that got us there. Does that make sense? Can you imagine they pushed us up, we get to the top, and then next thing you know, guess what happens? Now, our job as leaders is to reach down and pull the people up to where you're at, which is essentially what we did, right? We reached down, we pulled up those other people. Now, guess what? It was crazy. Elan said, you know what's crazy, John? You know, when you moved to Northridge or Porter Ranch, we moved to Porter Ranch. When you moved to another city, we moved to another city. And then you moved to Calabasas, and we're in Calabasas, right? So we're both living in these beautiful mansions, gated communities. Our kids are going to like beautiful schools, surrounded around beautiful families. Yeah. So here we are. We were all at the bottom, and we had to make a decision. Let's push John up and Arlene. And we get to the top, and then we decided to reach down, pull everybody up, and we're now all living this way. Now we travel the world together with our children, right? So when you talk about balance and all that kind of stuff, oh, man, we live an extraordinary life, you guys. Arlene was saying the other day that we live the life of a fairy tale. Like, seriously, it's a fairy tale, right? We're getting a call from the King of Spain, like the King of Spain, right? Yeah, we're getting calls from dukes, right, and barons and earls and counts and countesses. We're going to Ireland for 7 or 10 days, all expenses paid. We're going to, with our children and our family and our parents, we're going to Hawaii every single year. Now we're getting to a point where our children are getting somewhat jaded, a little spoiled, right? Because they're like, do we have to go to Hawaii again? I'm like, what the hell did you just say? Right? I mean, so we kind of have to bring them down just a little bit. Let me tell you what your lives could all look like in the next 3 to 5 years. It is like you have no idea. I mean, you sit here like we have now stretched Elan's brain so much where he's not looking to make just $1 million. He literally wants to be a billionaire, right? We're going to be singing that song Billionaire where he's got an app where he's going, okay, what's it take to become a billionaire? Right? That's what I mean by thinking bigger. See, a lot of you just aren't thinking bigger. You're not dreaming big enough. You're just sitting there watching all the crap that's on the internet. Trust me, if you could just do this, turn off your computers, stop watching the news, don't go to Yahoo or MSN.com, just do that for 3 days, just 3 days straight, no TV, no internet, nothing, and just watch the stress just disappear out of your body. Like, seriously, it'll just poof, gone. And you're like, what? COVID-19, right? What? There's riots and protests going on? Yeah, because you're focused on that. When you're focused on that kind of stuff, guess what you're inviting into your life, folks? Be careful what you're thinking about every single day. Guys, our time is up. We went overtime. I wish you all the best. I know that Elan and Dina wishes you guys all the best. Be safe out there right now. I'm not telling you to not quarantine and wear a mask and start running around to parties or anything like that. But I want you to know that, hey, listen, there is no better time than right now, for you to go and change your life, right? Make a decision. Make a decision now and do something with your life. I just got a few slides here with you guys that I'm going to share, and we're going to call it a night. And let me just tell you where we're at. Here we go. So again, thanks to Elan and Dina. Guys, it's your time. This is it. It's time for you to build a residual and passive income business. Stop taking active. Tune in tomorrow for all the details. At 2 o'clock, register now. Take a picture of this. And then on Thursday, I'll do some product training, get you financially savvy. And then on Saturdays, tune into Shin-tastic Saturday. And don't forget about movie night and join us for my boot camp on August 8th. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Make sure that you take a picture of this. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and I'll follow you back. We'll stay connected. God bless every single one of you. Take care and have yourself a wonderful evening. Bye-bye, everyone.